What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arrival Entertainment, and today we are going to be talking about the newest film adaptation of West Side Story. West Side Story is directed by the one and only Steven Spielberg, and it's a new film adaptation of the classic Broadway musical, as well as a remake of the 1961 film. And this movie tells pretty much the exact same story as the originals. It's a musical about two young adults from opposing gangs in New York City who fall in love with each other, and that eventually causes tension and friction between those gangs. A couple things I'd like to mention before getting on with the review. The first one is, I'm a little ashamed to say that despite owning the original West Side Story on Blu-ray, and despite my parents loving the original West Side Story, I still haven't seen it all the way through. My plan was to watch the movie the week before I saw the new one, and there was an issue with that. I really wasn't feeling good last week, hence why I haven't been uploading recently. So I missed my window of opportunity to watch the original movie, before I saw this new one. I own the movie on Blu-ray, so obviously I plan on watching the original movie. It just now has to be after I saw the new one. The other thing you should know about me is that I am not a fan of musicals. I never have been my entire life. I think I've only liked maybe 2 or 3 musicals my entire life. So knowing that going into this review, you're probably thinking to yourself, why did you see West Side Story then? Well, for a couple of reasons. The biggest one is Steven Spielberg. I mean, he's one of the greatest directors of all time, so anything with his name attached to it, it immediately grabs my attention. Another reason is what I mentioned earlier. My mom and dad are huge fans of the original West Side Story, so I thought it'd be fun for all of us to go see it together. And the trailers did kind of sell me on it, despite the fact, again, Steven Spielberg attached to it. Take that out, the trailers did look pretty cool. So I did have somewhat of an interest to check out this movie, despite the fact that I'm not a fan of musicals. And surprising to say, I loved this movie. This movie got me in such a better mood after a week of feeling like complete crap. This movie was so good, so well made, and I would even go far as to say this new version of West Side Story, it is destined to become a modern classic. Even my parents were surprised when I told them that, because they know I'm not really a fan of musicals. But I told myself, if I don't like this movie, but say critics and audiences do, I'm going to be honest about it. And I walked out of the theater so happy with this movie. Everything in this movie worked for me. All the performances in this movie are so strong and so well done. I believe all the actors in this movie are up-and-coming stars, because when the credits were rolling, I didn't recognize anyone really in this movie except for the lead actor, Ansel Elgort. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. He was the main character in Baby Driver, and I love that movie, so I do recognize him. And Rita Moreno, I think that's how you say her name. She was in the original West Side Story. Those are the only names I recognize, but everyone else, I have no idea who they are. So I think that was a great idea, having this movie be nothing but new actors who hasn't really done all that much. I looked up a lot of their IMDb pages and their filmography lists, and from what I can tell, these actors, most of them have, this is either like their first project, or they've done a couple of small projects here and there, which again, I thought was a real smart idea. I feel like if they would have casted this movie with well-known stars, it would have been a little distracting, because while I was watching this movie, I was watching these characters, not necessarily the actors playing the characters, so to speak. So like, I don't know, let's say Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know, just someone. Like if Jake Gyllenhaal was playing Tony in this movie, I would be saying to myself, that's Jake Gyllenhaal playing Tony the character. I mean, yeah, he's a great actor and he would have sold that performance, but having a well-known actor in these roles, I feel like would have been kind of distracting at times. Whereas casting actors who aren't really well-known, you can, like I said, you can see them play the character instead of saying, that's this actor playing this character. So to me, that really worked out. And knowing that this is Steven Spielberg's first fully fledged musical that he's directed, my God, it seems like this guy has been directing musicals for decades now. I mean, yeah, he's been directing movies in general for decades now, so all the filmmaking aspect in this movie is absolutely flawless, but the musical aspects are what really surprised me. You can tell that he has such a passion for the story. It just leaps off the entire screen. He's done like small musical numbers here and there in past other movies he's done. Probably the most popular one I can think of right now is the opening credits for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But a fully fledged musical with him directing, again, it feels like he's been doing this for decades now. Musicals, not just movies. And I loved how this movie was so fast-paced. All the dancing choreography, the singing, it was all just so quick and so fast-paced. It feels like all the dancing was sped up in post-production, but then you really look at it and you say to yourself, no, these guys are actually dancing that quick, and that is mad talent that they got right there. The singing is so gorgeous in this movie. Everyone has such a beautiful voice. This is a 2.5-hour movie, and I feel like I could have watched another half hour of it. By the time the credits started rolling, I said to myself, wow, it's over already. I could have watched a lot more of that. I don't know if we're going to get an extended edition on Blu-ray or anything like that. I mean, if we do, that'd be pretty cool, but yeah, it just flew by. This movie just flew by, and like I said, by the time it was over, I was surprised that it was already over. And I haven't really seen anyone mention this, so I'm just going to mention it in my review. I liked how this movie felt like it was made in the 1950s, so to speak. I saw this movie in IMAX, so I was able to pick up a lot more details than if I just saw it in a standard showing, but I noticed early on that this movie feels like it was shot, edited, made all together in the 1950s or early 1960s, and then it was digitally remastered to be put in theaters. Like, it had that old school feel to it, which was very smart on this movie's end because that's when this story takes place. This movie could have easily have turned out to be a modern update of West Side Story, where it takes place in modern day and it tackles all these issues and messages that we're facing nowadays. But with Steven Spielberg directing it, he stayed true to the original story, and it felt timeless. Like, watching it obviously takes place in like the 1950s or 1960s, but honestly, it felt pretty timeless. So in the end, like I mentioned earlier, I absolutely loved this movie. I'm very happy to say that everything in this movie just worked for me. I don't have any issues with this movie, not even little nitpick issues. That's not really worth mentioning. I don't have any problems with this movie. It's easily one of the best films this year, and of course, it's Oscar worthy. If you haven't seen this movie, then please check it out in theaters. Don't wait until it comes on Disney Plus or whatever streaming service it's going to be on. It's 20th Century Fox, so it's probably going to be on Disney Plus. But don't wait until it comes out on streaming, or don't wait until it comes out on Blu-ray. Go see this movie in the theaters if you want to see it and if you can see it in the theaters. This movie deserves money at the box office and all the recognition, because I've been hearing a lot of comments of people saying with movies like The Last Duel that came out, I've been hearing a lot of people say, we don't get movies like this anymore. It's so refreshing to see that. And yet The Last Duel bombed. And I really don't want to see West Side Story bombed. I want to see more films with this much love and care with them. Not just another Marvel movie or DC movie every other month. I mean, I do enjoy those movies, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason we don't get movies like this anymore. And that's because no one really goes to see them. Hence, in case, The Last Duel. That is a movie that people have been wanting to see a style like that for a long time now. And we finally got it, and no one saw it. And I really don't want the same thing to happen to this movie. So if you can see this movie in theaters, please go see it in theaters. Don't wait until it comes out on streaming. So guys, that's my review for West Side Story. Just like always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this film down in the comment section. And as always, thank you as always for watching. I plan on doing my catch-up video sometime soon before I see Spider-Man No Way Home. I meant to do it last week, but again, I wasn't feeling that good, so I didn't get anything done. So look forward to that video very soon, and then yes, I'm seeing Spider-Man No Way Home next weekend, so look forward to a video of that. Again, thank you as always for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already, and until next time guys, take care.